Comedian Bill Maher blasted the Golden Globes for not nominating Joe Rogan in the inaugural Best Podcast category.
In the latest episode of his Club Random podcast that featured Dana Carvey and David Spade, Maher said the Globes only nominate, quote, super woke stuff. Here he goes. Let's take a listen.
It was glaring that Joe Rogan was not nominated.
For Best Podcast?
Yeah. I mean, it is kind of popular, and you know,
it is known.
It is known.
He's absolutely brilliant at what he does.
And he's very good at what exactly. So if you're going to have an inaugural podcast category,
and you don't have,
it just speaks to living in the blue sky bubble.
Yeah.
Like, get out of your bubble, you know.
Maher then argued why it's difficult for him to defend his fellow liberals. Let's listen.
I want to be one of you. I am one of you. But you're just so hard to defend because you're just such smug. And this town is the epicenter of the problem. It really is.
How many more liberal Democrats are there? There's you that say what you say.
Not a lot.
There's a guy in Des Moines who runs a shoe store.
I had dinner with Andrew Schultz last night.
Okay.
I think he's one of them.
Among the nominees for Best Podcast shows were Good Hang with Amy Poehler, Armchair Expert with Dax Shepard, Alex Cooper's Call Her Daddy, and NPR's Up First podcast. Good Hang with Amy Poehler won the award.
Wow.
Why are you laughing? NPR is a prestigious organization.
No, I know, but it actually good to Bill Maher's point, those are all ideologically similar. I guess I don't know Dax Shepard or...
What about Call Her Daddy? That's not really... Call Her Daddy's a really
liberal.
Good... It's liberal because she's a woman just celebrating womanhood. Yeah. That's liberal?
Yes, correct. Exactly. Point made.
Okay, look. These
There's
awards...
nothing for the male podcast watching demographic, which is the hugest demographic.
Well, the bros that watch the podcast got the whole election won by President Trump. They got him right in office, so be happy with our livelihood. Listen, these awards are never objective. They're always subjective. Somebody always has an issue. But I will say, if you just look at the numbers of Joe Rogan, what does he have, like 190 million views per month?
Trillion, bajillion.
11 million views
have a word
per episode.
That exists to...
Yeah, he's breaking all barriers. So I looked at the merit. I'm like, what do they actually judge these off of? And it starts with downloads and views. And I'm like, okay, well, I can't defend you then. Yeah. I can't defend you with, because his set is like not the most brilliant thing I've ever seen. It's fine. No shade to the Joe Rogan set, but it's not like, oh my gosh. So if they're judging off of like artistic design of the set or whatever and everything that goes in, they're not. They're judging off numbers to start. And then they get into a whole bunch of other stuff. And so it's just subjective. And some part of me feels like they are like icing Joe Rogan out. Because you can't ignore the man that has been credited with swaying an election.
For some reason, they think that's not artistically would merit the kind of thing they want to award. Well, there's Theo Vaughn, there's Tim Dillon, there's any number of there's Andrew Schultz. There's so many other podcasts. Like, find one that you think is artistically. These are what people are watching. Again, it's not to award the most popular thing. They're doing critically acclaimed, but I think they're still being a little partisan blinders on for what they think is critically acclaimed.
How do you feel about something as old school as an award show now honoring, award show like the Golden Globes, now honoring podcasts? No, it's kind of folding. You said that there's always like this isolation of like old school, new school, thinking I'm better than you.
I mean, right.
Incorporating it into the show.
Come around.
Wouldn't that make you watch if Joe Rogan or any of your favorite podcasters was nominated? That'll make that whole audience of people who are in this digital streaming
watch the
age.
Golden Globes.
Well, somebody might now.
Yeah.
Somebody who's on the cusp of like grandpa / I like YouTube might watch it to see if. I mean, Call Her Daddy has millions of views. That's the one that I know. All right. Pretty well.
I was, again, to speak well of Joe Rogan, I caught clips of Ben Affleck and Matt Damon on.
I did too.
And they were speaking, all credit to them, they were speaking very about changes in the movie industry in a very self-aware, I want to praise them actually, because they were talking about what they don't like about Netflix and streaming and how they're forced to, from a script writing standpoint, you have to, everybody's distracted, they're looking at their phone, so you have to summarize the plot over and over again for people who are just not paying attention, and how stultifying that is creatively. But then Ben Affleck was saying, but he doesn't want to just like criticize what the new thing is and say it used to be better because there are advantages too. It was very thoughtful, their remarks on how streaming has changed things, and I just wanted to appreciate them for being.
And Joe, you got to give Joe Rogan credit for getting people.
And he
to
brings that out
the
of
space.
people.
Yeah, the space to talk, 3 hours to talk, plus being to have a good conversationalist. So can't deny it. New polling shows that the vast majority of Americans are unhappy with how the federal government has handled the Epstein files. I'm going to have more on that in my lens.